There comes a moment in the journey when it all falls into place. Not because we planned it, but because love had an ulterior motive all along we were being prepared to see. This is that moment for me. I'm Giselle Gamby, coach, mentor, and podcaster, and this is the Intuitive Pull Podcast Season 6. This season is for the ambassadors, the evolutionary leaders, the ones who dare to go first, the ones whose mission it is to lead from the consciousness of love and break the sound barrier of what is possible. This is for those who know they are part of something greater, and for those who never thought they were. My intention is that Season 6 will change your life, that it will activate your mission and liberate you to lead from the abundance of your wisdom and be in your full-bodied self-expression no matter what, because love is the ultimate mastermind. Hello, Intuitive Pool community. It is a cold Sydney rainy winter's day today, and I was not expecting to record this podcast today. However, I had a feeling just about 5 minutes ago to come on here and record this podcast. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of behind the scenes. Things have changed in relationship, or my relationship to this podcast, in the last month. Up until the last month, whenever I would record a podcast, I would plan what I was about to say. I would bullet point the progression of my dialogue. And in the last month, that is not the way that I am intuitively pulled to create these episodes anymore. I have a feeling, and then I speak to that feeling and allow that feeling to create the conversation that I'm having with you, purely from a place of presence, purely from a place of trust within myself, purely from a place of authenticity, because really what I'm doing in these episodes is I'm sharing my contemplations. And so really there's no need anymore to bullet point out the progression of my thoughts with you. And I hope that me being a demonstration of speaking this way is an inspiration for you to also trust in your own sense of presence and in your own sense of authenticity. So today I do want to go back to the previous episodes that I recorded on the 3rd of July and just remind you what those episodes were to, because what has unfolded as a result of those, of what I shared, my contemplations that I shared in those episodes and my breakthroughs that I shared in those episodes, I have had the most brilliant, unexpected unfolding with particular angels that have come into my life and have shown me things and have catalyzed things that I'm now theming as an unexpected destiny, or actually unexpected destinies. So I'm offering to you, and I may even entitle this episode as Unexpected Destinies. I'm offering this to you for this to be your own experience. So let me go back to the 3rd of July. So the 3rd of July, I recorded 2 episodes, a part 1 and a part 2. Part 1 was called Embracing Our God-Given Gifts. So let me just speak and summarize what I spoke on that episode with you. So I had this awareness arrive a little bit before the 3rd of July. And the awareness was that I had not been experiencing the joy of the Giselle experience of my life as much as I had been experiencing that a few years before. So when I am having sessions with people, I am in full joy. I am in a full holding of the multidimensional experience, the multidimensional opportunity, way beyond any rules and assumptions of the way life is and the time that it takes for people to do certain things. I am in my full quantum self, let's say, when I am with my clients, and there are miracles that occur as a result of that. So there is no deficit in my experience of myself when I am with my clients. However, what I became aware of was there was a deficit of my quantum self in my relationship with the Giselle experience of life. And having, excuse me, and having had that awareness, I started to question, was the magic ever even real for me? You know, I had experienced quantum manifestation after quantum manifestation, you know, instructions in my dreams and so many experiences that, you know, you can't make this shit up. And I hadn't, in my perception, that is, I hadn't been experiencing that. And so I started to wonder, was it ever even real? And I brought it to my mentor and I explained some of the experiences that I had. And she said to me, do you understand that most people in the whole of their lives never touch what you have touched into, and you make that not good enough? And can I tell you how humbled I was in that moment? So incredibly humbled, because what she said, do you realize that most people spend the whole of their lives never once touching into what you have experienced, and you make that not good enough? I was on my knees, and the humbling has continued, and I still feel humbled. You know, what are we today? The 31st of July. So about a month afterwards, I still feel incredibly humbled by that statement. And the reason why I made those gifts, the ability to receive information intuitively, to be directed and guided from beyond this physical 3D reality, the reason why I made it not good enough and I started to questioning, was the magic ever even real? And this is me being very, very open with you, and I'm more than happy to be open with you, is because I had one of those instructions that occurred in a dream when I was in Noosa in January this year. And I actually sleepwalked that night. And the reason why I'm saying that, and I don't sleepwalk very often at all, maybe once a year, and my husband found me in the second bathroom, and then I came to. And the reason why I'm telling you that I sleepwalked is because to show you how deep, 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 deep I was in another realm that evening. So when I went back to bed, I had one of those dreams where I'm observing myself have the dream, and I'm being given instructions, and then I'll wake up and I remember, wow, I had one of those dreams where I'm observing myself have that dream, and then I go and take action upon what I received. So in this dream, I was told to create a program. I was given the name. How incredible is that, to be given a name? in my dream where I'm observing myself have the dream, and I was given a name, and the name was Harvest. And I was told, I was given the fee. And then when I woke up, I started imagining what that program would be about, what its content would be, how it would be facilitated. And when I came back to Sydney, I started to work on that. The original vision was that it would be a group program, and I had particular themes unfolding in month one, month two, month three, month four, and I was pulling in incredible people that I have worked with over the years as co-facilitators for each of those months. And when I started putting out that program, I had one person say, I want to participate in that program. And I had nobody else. And I had people that my intuition was saying, this program is so perfect for who they are now, for the abundance of their wisdom, that it's now time to harvest the abundance of that wisdom and to receive new containers for the abundance of that wisdom to now be expressed. And so I reached out to these people. Sometimes I would receive downloads about these people, which is what I have experienced many times from my multidimensional nature. And many times those downloads have 100% landed in that person. In fact, I remember one time, the person said to me, my guru sent you to me. And then in my experience at the beginning of the year, I was not even receiving responses to the downloads that I was offering people. I was not even receiving a reply message to the downloads that I was receiving for people. And if I was receiving a reply, it wasn't a yes. And so my heart was breaking. I feel upset now even saying this out loud to you. My heart was breaking. And the one person who said, I want to do this, I said to her, look, this group format is not going to happen because you are the only person that has said you want to do this. So we can do this one-on-one for 4 months if you would like. And she said yes. And it has been the most joyful, effortless, intuitive, honoring, liberating, whole new universes that have unfolded, whole new unexpected destinies that have found her, and just so incredibly joyful. And yet, because only one person said yes, and I had all those no's or being ignored, or what felt like being ignored, not even a reply, even though I had received these incredible downloads, I made that experience in Noosa, where I was given this program called Harvest to facilitate, I made it not good enough. And I just want to say that I have been so incredibly humbled that I made it not good enough, because the work that I have done with this one woman who said yes to Harvest has been one of the most extraordinary experiences that I've had in my 21 years of coaching. How could I ever make that not good enough? So that was part one. And I've got a really beautiful unfolding and interconnected experience that happened, but I'm just going to speak to that a little bit later. Then on the 3rd of July, I also recorded another podcast, and it was called From Bondages of blame, shame, and unworthiness. So, after being humbled in that mentoring session, I also had an awareness, which was wow, when I was in my full multidimensional experience of myself a few years ago, I had been supported by a beautiful man who I spoke to on that podcast called Michael Muir, who channels light language. And I had been supported by him for many years, and incredible experiences would happen because I get out of my mind when I'm in that presence of sound and my intuition is activated, and many incredible visions have been realized because of my sitting in that space. And I thought, gosh, I haven't had a session with Michael in a couple of years. My focus has been so on the ground. So I booked in a session with Michael and I had a one-on-one on Zoom with him, and I shared everything that had unfolded. And he went into that light language space, and Michael said this. And just like I'd been humbled in my previous session with my mentor, Melanie, Michael nailed it. And Michael said this. He said, I had made myself unworthy of receiving God's love because of things a few years back that in my own judgment of myself, I should have done better. I should have known better. I should have held it better. And because of that self-judgment, I had made myself unworthy of receiving God's love. And so therefore, my experience of Giselle, my quantum experience of Giselle in the Giselle experience of life was absent. Well, it was always walking with me because God, the universe, always walks with me. But my awareness of that, my openness to that, my own experience of my multidimensional nature was not present, because what or where my presence was in the last couple of years, because I thought I should have known better, I should have done better, I should have held things better when things went south for a little while. My focus then became here in my 100% personal responsibility version of Giselle, going to that place of cause and effect that changes everything. That's where my focus had been. Who was I being when things went awry? Who was I being that I needed to clean up? And so my focus went there. And my focus was not consciously, because of course, as I said, the universe, God always walks with me, walks with us, but consciously I was not locating myself there. I was locating myself on the ground. And hearing Michael say that, I had made myself unworthy of receiving God's love because I had all this self-judgment that I should have just done so much better than what I did. My focus went on the ground. Absolutely bloody powerful hearing that. And so what unfolded from that was, of course, I opened myself up consciously, because I was back to honoring the gifts that I have been given by God, Mother Nature, the universe. I was back to honoring, most people spend the whole of their lives never touching what you have touched into just once. I was back into being on my knees for the fact that I have these gifts that I can download and that I can hear and receive and be given instructions and for my own experience of my life. I have returned to that relationship with myself, and I've had so much gratitude. You know, sometimes, right, in the contrast of life, we have to forget in order to remember. And I have remembered how incredibly special this intuitive relationship that I have with life is, and that I've been giving this to myself for my own joy, not just to my clients. It's been all pouring out for my clients, but for myself. And so then what happens when I allow myself to be deserving of God's love again? What happens when I allow myself to receive the abundance that my multidimensional nature is? When I give that to myself, what happens? Well, things that you can't plan for, things that I couldn't plan for, things that I never expected, gifts and blessings from people I have a sacred contract with. And so 3 angels came bearing gifts. And the first angel I interviewed on this podcast, her name is Priyanka Venkatesh. And this will sound really silly, right? But you have no idea the liberation that I have experienced. So before I interviewed Priyanka, I, went online to read about her, and I noticed what beautiful landing pages she had. And I noticed that at the bottom it said Kajabi, which is a website building platform amongst many other things. And Priyanka said to me, oh, it's really easy to use. And so I had this like, oh, okay. Because up until now, or recently, I'd always had someone create my website, or I've had several people actually create my website. And I hadn't really been in love with my website for a few years. And even though we were making changes and they were directed by me and we hadn't gone live yet, I still was not representative of the joy that I wanted to feel and the alignment that I wanted to feel. So there's a little breadcrumb, right? There's a little breadcrumb. So that's angel number 1. Now let's go down to angel number 2. So remember, I recorded those episodes on the 3rd of July. So 7 days later, on the 9th of July, I'm having a one-on-one. Guess who with? The one person who said she wanted to do the harvest program. Now, just appreciate how special this unfolding is, given that she was the one person. There's no not good enoughness here as I say this out loud. Just because there was one person, even though I had made that not good enough, there is only abundance now in my perception. So about 10 minutes before the call, I get really strong intuitive message that within the first 10 minutes, we are going to receive what we needed to receive in that session. I just need to pause because I need to blow my nose because I feel there's so much emotion in this episode. One moment, please. So I share this with her at the beginning of the call, and I said, look, I've just had this huge energy run through my body about 10 minutes ago. It's really strong energy, and there's something that you and I need to see within the first 10 minutes. And of course, what happens is that the energy is very strong, very direct. And she says to me, it's really interesting that this has just happened because I have been experiencing this energy. And in fact, I've been calling people out. That was the expression. I've been calling people out. I called my HR director just an hour before getting on with you. And it's really powerful. It's a really powerful energy. How absolutely wonderful. Yes, we received what we needed to receive in the first 10 minutes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then we continue the conversation. At the end of the call, she says to me, Giselle, may I call you out on something? I said, yes, you may. And she said, now I'm just going to preface this. The way, the spirit in which she shared this was not coming from advice for commercial reasons primarily. It was not coming from, you need to do this because you'll make a lot of money. Far from the impulse. That is far from the impulse. So when I share this, I really want you to hear this, that she was speaking to my capacity, the capacity that I have grown into, the capacity that I have become. You need to hear this. So she said to me, Giselle, you need to scale. You need to scale. And I have a vision as to what that looks like. And I even have numbers because I'm good with numbers, she said. She said, I see a mastermind, a monthly mastermind, where people come in, they can sign up for 6 months or they can sign up for a year. And they come into this monthly mastermind, and I see 300 to 500 people all around the world. I see a lot of men, and I see it in US dollars. And she gave me the fees in US dollars. We got off the call. And again, I just want you to feel what I'm about to say into yourself. If you've ever had this experience, normally when I'm given advice, and I am given a lot of advice, most of it doesn't land. And sometimes I'm given advice and I'll contemplate it and I'll think about it. And sometimes I say yes. And sometimes I say no. What she had offered me, I didn't even need to contemplate. I didn't even need to say yes. When she was sharing her, and I feel like it was a prophecy, in fact, when she was sharing her vision with me, it went, and I can even feel it now, it went straight into my belly. It just, I didn't even need to say yes. It just was. The recognition of the vision was, my body inherently knew the resonance of what she was saying. And so that was a Wednesday. And then the weekend happens. Oh, beg your pardon. Immediately following that session, I received the name of that mastermind. And again, it was gifted, not that she knew this, it was gifted the previous session that we had. And the previous session that we had, she said to me, I love our Wednesday morning sessions because we simply sit in presence and so much unfolds from simply sitting in presence, which is why I want to demonstrate. I have no notes other than dates and the names of the podcast. I want to demonstrate the power of presence with you moving forward with these episodes. And she said, I want to develop a practice like this with, certain people in their lives where she schedules a regular meeting and they simply sit in presence and the most extraordinary things come alive, surface, simply because they're sitting in presence. So straight after that session where she called me out and my body just went, doesn't even need to say yes, it just recognizes the resonance, the alignment of this vision. The name came, and the name is The Presence Room. So now let me jump to the weekend. So that was Wednesday. The weekend is now here. My son's in Indonesia for a month. My husband is working on our little investment property, he's renovating it, and my daughter is out on her e-bike with her friends. And that's an unusual experience. And I felt like I had the grace of space. And I thought, I'm going to check out Kajabi, the website building platform. And I bought it. And then I looked at Angel One's template that she used. And I thought, I love that template. I'm going to use the same. And I sat there and with this template, and each box where I had to write content to, I simply asked that box, what do you want of me? And then I would write. And then the next box would come, what do you want of me? And I would write. It was the most joyful experience creating a landing page, a website page. It was the most joyful experience. Talk about a fundamental shift in identity here. You know, I'd always relied on another person. I would have to explain what I wanted. I'd write the content and then they'd translate the content and transfer it, I should say, into the website. Here I was felt like I was in creative beast mode, is how I've been describing it. Here I was in my creative beast mode, independent of needing anybody else, simply asking my intuition, what do you want, box? Writing to that, what do you want, box? Writing to that. And then the end result was this beautiful, amazing, amazing, amazing representation of what the presence room is. And my family came home and I was like, come in here, come in here. I'm so excited to show you what I've done. And they were so proud of me, especially my daughter, wow, Mum, that's amazing. And oh my gosh, I felt so liberated. I felt so liberated. And this vision of the presence room has been in my body. It's in my body now. 300 to 500 people. Now that's a long-term vision, I think. And I know it's one person at a time. One person at a time. This vision is not how I've run things before. I'm calling it a mastermind because that's what Angel 2 saw. And it is a mastermind because I'm working with the ultimate mastermind, the consciousness of love that is holding me here with you. The consciousness of love is holding this mastermind, is holding us in the presence room. The presence room, a place where what you might be experiencing with me here today occurs for you. The presence room is a place where my intention is that every month when we get on Zoom, whoever comes to the presence room, we're on it for 75 minutes. Something happens because we are in presence, just like all of my one-on-ones, just like my best year yet, that beautiful, beautiful program where we write notes to self and we come together. Something happens. Something is activated. Something is received. Something is felt. Something is moved. An unexpected destiny is seen. A moment of humility like I have been experiencing. A moment of conviction like I feel here with you. An intuition that comes out of thin air. A joy, an awe, a reverence for what is being experienced by witnessing another in their process. Like when I see the presence room, I see multiple mirrors like the abundance of multiple mirrors of people in their own sense of presence. You know, I joined a mastermind this year with my mentor, and it has, I think it's 154 people at the moment. I've never experienced a mastermind like that, but I see now the reason why I experienced a mastermind with the volume of people that I'm in is to show me a model that I have not experienced before. You know, when I started running a mastermind in 2013, it's because I had experienced that model through the coach that I was working with then. I'd never knew that that was possible. You know, at that time, it was this intimate mastermind where people come and most people share on a call. Whereas the mastermind that I'm in right now, of course, 154 people can't share, but people put their hand up, and I have multiple times. And when people put their hand up, what happens is that one process, that one experience is not just for that person. It's for the many other people that are here or that are there on that call. I now have that model. And that's my intention for the presence room, that there might be 2 or 3 people that will share based on what I have brought to the call. But those 2 or 3, that process is not just for them. It's mirrored in others. It's mirrored in others. It's mirrored, and something happens within each person. Sometimes more than others, right? Sometimes one month may be more powerful than another month. And my intention for the presence room, you see, one of my superpowers is community. I love community. I love the power of community. I love the love that's within community. I love the connectedness and the interconnectedness that's within community. I love the soul family that's within community. I actually wrote a post in that mastermind that I'm in last night saying, when people come into my community, they say to me, I feel like I've met soul family. And I know that's to be true. And I feel that with them, they're my soul family. And I also feel, I wrote in that post last night, I also feel like I've met my soul family in that mastermind. That's what I want in the presence room. You know, I want connections that would never have happened had they not come to the presence room. I want co-creations that would never have happened had they not come to the presence room. So the presence room, this is an experiment for me because in 2013, the experiment for me was moving from hourly fees, no commitment from people. People could come in and come out whenever they want. And I realized the limitation of that. And the experiment was to value myself, value all my contemplations, value my client that I was working with so much greater. So much greater that I would create a sacred partnership model where they would walk with me for one-on-one for 3 months or 1 year. And it would be, you know, at a fee that they'd have to show up for the time that we were together. They'd have to show up. They'd have to give everything to this process because the fee was significant. And then my experiment was bringing these people together in a mastermind space. And the experiment has proved to be very abundant and transformational for all the people I've worked with. And now my experiment is, can I remove the lid to how many people I can be of service to how big this community can grow? Can I lift the lid on the amount of connectedness and interconnectedness that I've experienced so far? And can I do that ironically with a much lower fee? Can I still hold the intention that only sacred contracted people, which is why it's been incredible in the last 12 years, can I hold the intention that with a very low point of barrier fee, can I still attract the sacred contracted people that I am to work with and that they are to meet? Can I still do that? This is the experiment. And so the presence room is at a pre-sale fee. I mean, it is absolutely nuts. There are times where my mind, I'll be honest with you, does come in and say, what the hell? And then I say, trust, let go, and trust. So in Aussie dollars, I should say, the pre-sale fee now until my intuition says we need to up it, which is what I've done with my best year yet. My intuition will say, okay, it's time to up it. The pre-sale fee, you're going to die. Like literally, I've had people say, I can't believe that because I almost can't believe it myself. And I'm letting go and I'm trusting. The pre-sale fee for 6 months is $990. The pre-sale fee for 12 months is $1,650. We have a monthly Zoom on the last Thursday of every month. It is at 12:30 Sydney time for 75 minutes. So I've made it so that it can be at lunchtime for people on the east side of Sydney, the east side of Australia. And I'm also, of course, opening this not just to the east side of Australia, I'm opening this up to the world. All sessions will be recorded. There will be a Facebook group where those replays will be, and also for people who are not in Facebook or have Facebook, I'll have a Telegram, or I have a Telegram channel. So both of those places will be mirrored. And I'm really hoping that most people will come into the Facebook group because of the connection and the sharing that can happen there. And I, said this to somebody just this week. I said, I'm coming from the generosity of my spirit, as I do with all of my programs. And just because this is such a low cost program doesn't mean that I'm not going to come from the generosity of my spirit. I'm going to overgive. So whilst there will be those monthly last Thursday of the month calls, I will also bring in guest facilitators in between when my intuition says. I'm also offering an affiliate program. I feel big girl pants when I say that, affiliate program, because for this mastermind to grow and for me to really allow it to, I see it coursing through the veins of so many people. I see, the visual that I have is like underneath the ground, there are interconnected roots upon interconnected roots of networks of people that are beyond my control. So it only makes sense, therefore, to invite people to share the presence room with their people, because I really feel that's the way that this is going to grow. And so what makes sense, therefore, is to have an affiliate program. And again, my mind comes in and says, what the hell are you doing? And then I say, let go and trust, let go and trust. So for now, the affiliate program is for any successful referral for the 12 months. It is 15% of 1,650 goes to you. I will bank transfer that to whoever is the referrer. And for the 6 months, it's 10% of $990. I will bank transfer that. So if this is speaking to you, I just really want to share my appreciation in advance because I can't do this alone. And I'm asking you to feel the energy of this program and to feel who this would be for and to feel who you would love to share this with. And I would be so deeply, deeply grateful for your generosity in you taking responsibility for bringing your people in. Of course, the landing page, the presence room, and Everything you need to know will be in the show notes. I'm so proud of myself, can I just say, because this is the first time I've created a landing page, number one. And secondly, this is the first time I've automated the whole process so you can actually purchase the program from the landing page and you will be given a receipt and you will be given all the information that you need about this program, and you'll be given a coaching agreement where you will electronically sign it. Like, who am I? I can't tell you what a devotion this has been to learn all of that technology. So I'm going to leave the presence room for now because now I want to get to the third angel. So the third angel, so second angel was on the 9th of July, and then the third angel was on the 17th of July. Again, in a one-on-one session I had. And at the end of our call, and she's had the most remarkable experience and results, talk about fundamental shift in identity, like beyond time and space. She said to me, so you may have heard that I decided to do a 30 days of honoring the people that I work with. And then I decided, you are crazy. I had anticipated that would be 30 consecutive days. That's just not possible. But there will be 30 days in total of honoring the people that I've worked with. And I have honored her. Her name's Tess. I didn't put it on the podcast, but it is on my Facebook page. So I'm at the end of this call and she says to me, Giselle, these 30 days of honoring, why don't you honor yourself? Now, I'm just going to show you what I did when she said that. I went, honor myself, and I completely recoiled. No, I'm not going to honor myself. Thought that was really weird. Honor myself publicly. Felt that very weird. Anyway, my body received it. Not this. My body received it. Because what happened then? So I had another weekend. This was, I think, Thursday. I was with her. And then another weekend, my son was still in Indonesia. My husband was still renovating, and my daughter was out on her e-bike. And I thought, oh, I think I might create another landing page. Now, completely not associating Tessa's invitation to honor myself. This was not a conscious thing. But I had this pull to create a landing page for my one-on-one work, which is really, the cornerstone of everything that I do. It's the foundations. It always has been since 2013, and everything else is built from there. So I got the template out, and because I knew how joyful the process was, what is this box? What do you want? And intuitively writing that, what box? What do you want? Intuitively writing that. Ended up writing this landing page for my one-on-one work. And oh my God, it was a complete honoring of all that I have gathered, all that I have weeded, all that I have toiled, all that I have grown, all that I have blossomed really since 2013. On this landing page was all of that. It was a complete honoring, back to Tess, a complete honoring of Giselle Gamby from 2013 to now. And I saw it and I felt it more so. And I had so much joy and so much appreciation and so much reverence for my devotion, really, for my devotion particularly since 2013. And I had this moment of, wow, there is no way in 2013, if I had written this landing page in 2013, there is no way what I had written would have been here in 2013. I had so much appreciation. So how beautiful that this landing page was created from that energy. How beautiful that it was created from an unexpected honoring of everything that I've grown. And it was my harvest. This landing page was, I It was the representation of what I have harvested, of the harvest that is here now. How beautiful is that? Even connecting it back to that dream and the instructions that I had put on a program called Harvest. Well, yes, this is my harvest. And then I asked, what do you want to be called? One-on-one program. And then I got this. And again, so much honoring, feel it in my heart. And what it wanted to be called was, it wanted to be called Liberated, because that's exactly how I was feeling in that moment. I feel liberated, liberated for all the reasons that I've shared with you, including, I mean, it sounds so silly, but including the fact that I was writing these landing pages and creating them myself. Liberated, liberated. And then what I intuitively wrote on the title of that box, Liberated, I wrote, this is my signature program. My one-on-one work is my signature program, and it really is. It really is. And so I released that landing page, another unexpected destiny that I had it wasn't even a thought. The thought was I wanted to change my website. The thought was, I wanted to have new photos. The thought was I wanted a whole new rebrand. The thought was I would need to have a certain amount of income for that. The thought was that I would need to find the right person for that. What a whole delay that would have been. It was all in me. It was all in me. And here it is. So there you go. And I'm just going to finish with this. And I'm going to go back to angel number 2 and what happened really immediately after she called me out and she gave me that vision, and the vision went straight into my body, and that I didn't even need to say yes. I think it was that afternoon that I don't even know what I was doing, but I had this premise arrive, and it was like, of course. And the premise is this: how can we squeeze who we have become in containers that held who we have been? How can we squeeze who we have become in containers that held who we have been? I mean, we can. The truth is, we can try and squeeze who we have become in containers that held who we have been. We can if we are attached to those containers. We can if we are choosing safety and we're not prepared to risk ourselves in new containers. We can if we're trying to avoid risk, but that's not who I am. And so, of course, I had to create a whole new container to hold the abundance of my wisdom. And I had to create the landing page for the presence room. I had to create the landing page for Liberated. I had to create a new program called the presence room. Of course, these new containers had to come to hold the abundance of my wisdom now. And I'm just going to say the landing page scenario is not complete, because I also want to create one for my best year yet. And I also want to create one for harvest. And I actually also want to create one that came to me during the week for, I don't know what it's going to be called yet, but for the LinkedIn world, sharing the idea that how can you expect others to lift, to up level as a leader if you don't go first? You have to go first. You have to be a few steps ahead of other people. I don't know what that's called yet, but that intuition arrived a few nights ago. Of course, I had to freshen up even my processes of how somebody registers. I had a new one-on-one of, oh, by the way, so I do this landing page, Liberated, my signature one-on-one program. And of course, a few days later, somebody arrives, of course, for one-on-one work. And so I completely refreshed the coaching agreement that I would have sent in the past. I completely refreshed it, updated it. It now has an electronic signature, of course. So I guess the reason why I'm emphasizing this is, and maybe I don't even need to say it, maybe it's already implicit, maybe you've already got it, but in case you haven't already got it, if you've been at this for a while, right, if you have been growing and, as equally as devoted as I have been, and you have an abundance of wisdom, and you are not who you were whenever it was that your version of 2013, you can't squeeze who you have become in containers that held who you have been. You can't. So I hope that has inspired you. And of course, I'm holding this in all of my coaching expressions, whether it be one-on-one, whether it be the presence room, whether it be my best year yet, whether it be harvest. Of course, I'm holding all of this in all of those containers. And really, it's just up to the person, when they feel, oh, I feel pulled to do something with Giselle. Of course, it's just trusting in their intuition and what they're being guided into, because sometimes one-on-one work is exactly what is needed. And sometimes an intimate mastermind of my best year yet and a practice of writing is needed. And sometimes, the spaciousness of the presence room and the accountability, the inherent accountability that is required for the value of that program to be received, and, opening themselves up to a much wider community that they would not normally experience. Sometimes that's what's needed. And then sometimes what's needed is what angel number 2 experienced, is beautiful one-on-one, deep one-on-one work, joyful one-on-one work to harvest what is here and into new containers. So, that's not my responsibility. That's the person's responsibility to know what is true for them, what feels aligned for them. So I'm going to sign off now. I really enjoyed this experience with you. If you have enjoyed this experience, receiving my life, the generosity of my spirit here in sharing with you, if you have enjoyed it, if it has catalyzed something in you, if you want to talk about it with me, if you don't know what you want to do, but you want to talk about it with me, just please reach out. Connection is everything. We don't need to know ahead of time what is true or why we're even connecting with somebody. Just if you've got that pull, just we'll have a conversation. That's all that's needed. And equally, if you feel like the presence room is for you, make the most of that pre-sale fee, because I'm telling you, I will be moving it. There's a reason why pre-sale fee is a pre-sale fee, and it is to gather that momentum in a short space of time. So take advantage of that. And if, you feel called to share that with your people, let them take advantage of the pre-sale fee, because it will be changing soon, when my intuition tells me. Thank you for being with me so much. I love you. Bye-bye. Ciao.